Hi, I have in front of me compression F connectors for the Webro WF125 cable. It's available with low cost postal option. They're absolutely super connectors. They're quite expensive. You have to use them in conjunction with a tool, but they're particularly good and impressive. And what I'm going to do now is just going to give an overview of the design of them, and we'll demonstrate them then how we would use the compression tool to push them down. Just to say about WF125, it's really C2125 is the basic standard, and there's a range of different companies that make it. Webro is probably the best premium brand within the thing, but there is a number of people, other manufacturers who make similar type of cable. This type of connector is nearly exclusively used on professional jobs, so industrial jobs where you have people who have expensive houses, run really good cable, and they want to have really premium connectors on it. Okay. If we took out a length of pared down 125 cable, we can see it here. So if I picked up my vernier calipers in relation to this and I check the outside diameters of it, it'll be around 8 millimeters. Okay, and we have a core wire here in the center, and I think it's about 1.2 millimeters the core wire in the center. If we looked at the design of them, you can see the connector is basically in two parts. We have the base and we have the top part here, and in between we have the little plastic distance here, and when we compress it, that'll be squeezed tight and it closes in on itself and it grips the cable very tightly. If we look in the top, we'll see there's a pin there, right? So now the pin is probably about 4 millimeters from the top of from being flush with the top of the connector. And the basic idea of this is that when we push in the cable into it and the core wire pushes up, it has a good connection with the pin. It's able to push it up, so when we see the pin rising, we know we've inserted the cable properly, and at that point we'll compress it. So if we look internally here, we'll see the overall dimensions of the connection here is quite thick. Again, if I come along and get my vernier calipers, of which I'm a big fan, we'll see the overall outside dimension is about 13 millimeters. But the core wire inside here, the top section where we've pared this down is probably exposed for about 12 to 15 millimeters. Then we have the dielectric here in the center, that's probably exposed for about 20 or 25 millimeters. We have some of the braiding come down, and then we have the external cable here. So if we slide it in here directly, what I can do is, obviously I've cut this cable just for demonstration purposes, but if I push the cable in correctly, what I'll see is, and I can see it here, although you can't, but I can describe it, the pin pushes up. So we can push the pin right up to the point where it's flush, and at that point we can say we're ready to actually come along and compress the cable, or compress the connector onto the cable. So what we'll do here is, we have a tool. So there's basically 3 different types of connections on this. Now this is a tool from Webro. It's not an inexpensive tool, but it's a highly effective tool. It can handle basically 2 types of cable in terms of thickness. So it has this one here, and what we'll do is I'll just open this out fully, and I have imagine the cable with the connector on it. We just slot it through and it slides down there like that. And when I come along and go to compress it, what I'll do is I press down here, and all of a sudden, we still have the rest here, but now it's pushed fully. And if I compress further on this, what will happen is this gap here will close out, while the plastic inside is squeezed in, and it gives a very, very firm locking onto the cable itself. So once I've done this, it's impossible to pull the connector off. It's just locked solid onto it. And once I have that then, the design here is such that it's still easy to get the connector on, because if we just look at the top of here, it rotates extremely well, and it's actually designed where we can have a little bolt on it. And it'll join in with ordinary F-type connectors there, so an ordinary F joiner will go directly onto this here. So it just gives a super connection on it. So I suppose the big advantage of this is that it's the best connection you can get, and we have a tool that's specifically designed for it, and if you want to do a professional job, this is the way to do it. There is lower cost versions of this, so screw-on ones that don't need a tool, all the rest of it. You know, if you're doing a once-off thing, probably just go with the ordinary ones, but if you're doing a professional job, repeat thing here, and it's pretty well aimed at our trained professional customers, but it's a great connector, and the prices that we have it on are very competitive in the marketplace. So that's it anyway, an overview of the compression F connector for the Webro WF125 cable, available from freetv.ie.